You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Andrew Kuba.
And I'm Emmanuel Picasso.
All right, you guys are in for a treat. For our first episode this week, we discuss an old friend joining Standard, Dash Rendar, Lebo, and more. Can we solve certain pilots in the game of X-wing? The meta fallout of GenCon amidst Store Champ season, and more.
But Nick, hey, we're not just on a podcast. There's also other ways to find us. What are some other places that you can see some 312 content and also videos, all sorts of other stuff?
We have you surrounded. We're everywhere these days, man, I swear.
That's right.
So real quick, guys, before we dive into everything, 312 Squadron, if you guys didn't know, we're based here in Chicago, Illinois, and we are an X-wing community and channel. We specialize in streaming both in-person and online X-wing and other games. You can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, where we stream, on Discord, and right here on your preferred podcast platform.
Now, this is podcasting.
This is podcasting.
All right. So I think now we have some big news that is come out from AMG. The YT-2400 and the TIE bomber packs are being released. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to be. Points have not come out yet, but we do have a preview of what the ships are going to have. They have some new title upgrades, probably some new, it looks like some new ordnance, and a lot of things that could possibly shake up the current meta in there as well. Or at least we're going to see if they have the ability to do that. So do we want to start with the YT or the bombers?
Let's do something new. The YT-2400. Why not?
Yeah.
I
was about to say.
Start with a shiny new thing.
So exciting.
Let's start with Scum, guys. Scum is the one that I think the faction that needs a little bit of love. So who wants to take the new Scum YT-2400 pilot? I believe it might just be Lebo, but I'll have to double check here. I'm going to pull it up on my side.
Yeah, Lebo is in Rebel or Scum. One, I do like that AMG, when they're coming out with the new ships, that they have the ability that they're in multiple factions. So you don't have to just buy into a faction that you don't play, and you can still use the chassis elsewhere. Or, it's a great way to kind of explore and build into a new faction. So the Scum pilot,
I don't see anything.
Yeah, there's nothing for the Scum pilot.
So I believe the standardized loadouts are the same for Scum and Rebels.
Yeah.
And Dash and Lebo are both in Rebels and Scum.
But it's only
the
standardized for Scum.
Yes.
Right. That was the thing. So it is going to be the same for Rebels and Scum.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter which faction you choose, because the standardized loadout's going to be the same for either one of them.
But that's a big deal, right? Because one you get to customize and have opportunity to pick your own upgrades with Rebels, but you won't have that opportunity with Scum, which I don't know. I don't think Scum players necessarily want to hear that, but not all hope is lost. The standardized cards could be quite good. Let's jump into it though. Who wants to start with? Let's start with Dash.
Yeah, I can start with Dash. Dash has a new ability. He's an I-5 pilot. 6 hull, 4 shield, 2 evade dice, and he's rolling 3 attack dice. And his new pilot ability is after you gain a red token as a result of moving through or overlapping an obstacle, you may transfer that red token to a friendly ship at range 0 to 1. So it's a little bit different. He can still overlap obstacles, but it looks like he's still taking that penalty, but then you just transfer the token, so maybe you don't have the stress ability, and you can do it right after you overlap, so it's not like you would lose an action step unless the obstacle says that you lose that action step. And then it has a ship ability, Sensor Blackout. While you perform a primary attack at range 0 to 1, you roll 1 fewer attack dice. So that is to balance it out, because it has a 3 dice gun. You're not going to be rolling 4 dice at that 0 to 1. So you would roll 4, but then you would just roll 3. So it's always a 3 dice gun. Another thing it says, while you defend at range 1, you roll 1 fewer defense die as well.
That's the big one.
Yeah, you don't want to be at range 1.
Yep.
This is one of the first
a large base vying to stay away from in your enemies list, where the average ship count now is around 5, maybe even 6.
Yeah.
Not
That's
easier.
5. I think that's the average.
Yeah, easier said than done. It depends on what faction, but it's usually 5. Is what we have noticed across the board here in most
Yeah.
tournaments.
I think it's a weird thing where that ship ability is kind of fighting with the pilot ability, because if you want to be moving through obstacles, you're I feel like you're doing that to surprise your enemy, to be able to jump on them at range 1, maybe when they're not expecting you. It's interesting.
Right. It is
Uh
interesting, and he's got his. Go ahead and break down some of his upgrades on the standardized version of
Yeah,
Dash
right.
here.
So for the standardized, there's a new title ability called Mercenary, and or not title. Oh boy, what's it called?
Talent.
Talent. That's it. A new talent called Mercenary. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 2 is destroyed, before it is removed from the play area, transfer one of its green tokens to yourself. So if you're losing a friendly ship, you at least get to, if you didn't spend that focus, you can at least get it onto you. And then there's Lebo Crew. After you repair a damage card, you may perform an action from your action bar, which, if you're in a large base ship, that seems really good. Seeker missiles, which are interesting, only at range 2 to 3, 3 attack dice out the front arc, and 4 charges. And so the attack, you need a target lock. You can spend 1 charge, but during the modify attack dice step, you may spend 2 additional charge tokens to change 1 result to a hit for each charge spent this way.
1 eyeball result. Yep, to a hit.
Yeah, but you can spend up to 2, so you can't just
Yep.
use all 3 on that. But that covers for being able to target lock and get those focus actions. And then has a title, Outrider. While you perform a primary attack at range 3, roll 1 additional attack die. While you perform an attack that is obstructed by an obstacle, you may spend 1 of the defender's evade result, or you may change 1. You may spend 1 of the defender's evade results to a I result. So it's not change; you're spending it into an I. But I'm sure that
That's
there's going to
bizarre
be,
wording.
it's bizarre wording. So I'm
Yep.
wondering if that means that there's some interaction down the line that matters. There might be some edge cases in the rules. So okay, rolling 4 dice at range 3. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Definitely not
there's a
like
lot
the
of
old Dash
conditional
where
things
you're,
here.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very conditional all the way across the board, for literally from the ability to every upgrade that he has stapled on the standardized card. Manny, what's your first initial kind of reaction or impression of everything you just saw or you see
Oh
here?
man, I would kind of depend on how much this card is gonna cost, because if I'm gonna have to guess, I'm gonna assume that's gonna be 7 points. So obviously the comparison will be to Han. And Han compared to this at the same cost, I don't. I think I would have some trouble picking Dash over Han. It was the same price.
And just for those of you guys
Well,
listening, you might know the points by the time you listen to this, because we
Oh,
don't
that's
when we
true.
recorded
Yeah.
this. So we will have some insight once this episode is released as to exactly the cost of everything. However, if
Yeah.
trends are true, the way that standardized cards have been priced for play across multiple factions, I would not be blown away if this ends up releasing as 6 points. At 6 points.
yeah.
6 points.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Wait, so Lebo and Dash both at 6 points.
Well, we'll talk about
we'll
Lebo,
talk
but
about
Dash
Okay.
Lebo.
All
first.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I could see it being 6 or 7. I think those are both fair. Dash is also as an I5. That's pretty good. I this is something that really wants to stay at range 3.
Yep.
The weird thing is, so you still suffer the penalties from going over obstacles. And I'm trying to think, like, what
Gas clouds are going to
scenario.
be popular with him, I think.
Yeah, but then you have to ionize one of your other ships.
Other
Well,
ships.
no,
That's the
the
downside.
chances of you taking 1 ion are high. 3 is very slim.
Yeah. No, right. I know, but I mean, so yeah, you just don't transfer that well, it says you can transfer one. So I guess if you get the
Mhm.
third ion and you go over a gas cloud, you can transfer one of them, and then you're only at
Right.
two, which is fine.
But this
But
way he
then,
can fly away from people if he goes over gas clouds.
yeah,
And
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that's true.
he doesn't have to
Um,
deal with.
yeah,
Yeah, like I was about to say, if you're using the ability to fly through obstacles, I think you're using it to fly away rather than try to get the jump on someone.
Something that's worth calling out here really quick too, is that this is kind of a special circumstance where we with a new release where we are seeing something that is already in the game and priced with different things in the game, different abilities,
yeah,
in different factions. uh with the conversion kit you could play this ship even though it's extended. This is
mhm.
the first time we're seeing something be completely redone that already exists and is playable currently.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
so I think that is going to not only shake things up in terms of maybe the meta, but it also makes it potentially confusing for folks who maybe have stepped away from the game or are playing at home and aren't really paying too much attention to what's going on in the X-wing outside world. I just think it's interesting that we might see more of this later, especially with reprints. This is the first kind of reprint that we're now seeing. This is the first reprint, besides the
Yeah,
bombers being put into standard, but those pilots are still the same. These are different.
yeah.
Really quickly, before we get to Lebo, there is a build your own dash, as we alluded to in Rebels and Rebels only. That
Hmm.
I want to, I'm going to read you guys the original dashes ability real quick, and then I'm going to read you the new build your own dashes ability that will override the old one.
Yeah.
So here is the old dash, the one that as of right now is an extended. He is 10 points with 22 loadout. He's initiative 5. He stays the same initiative. And his ability is while you move, you ignore obstacles. Just flat across the board. You just don't suffer the effects of them unless you stay on top of it, then you wouldn't be able to shoot. But otherwise, while you move, you can barrel roll off of it. You can ignore it completely while you move. With sensor blind spot, while you perform a primary attack at range 0 to 1, do not apply the 0 to 1 bonus, and you roll one fewer attack die. Full stop. That's it. Nothing about reducing your agility at range 0 to 1, only for attacking. So, pretty, not really kind of old news at this point, right? Because he's about to be overridden by the new dash. So, I'm going to read you guys the new dash's ability, the build your own. During the engagement phase, you ignore the effects of obstacles that you are overlapping. So, still tied to obstacles. However, the timing is different. It's not just while you activate. And during the engagement phase, you ignore the effects of obstacles that you are overlapping. So, you can park on top of a rock, debris, gas cloud. However, here's the deal: you still suffer the effects of it while you're moving onto it. So, if you hit a rock and you want to stay on top of it and shoot, great. But you could take 2 damage from that. So there's, some drawback. Now you can't just be all willy nilly, loosey goosey.
Look
We
how
don't
they
know how much
massacred
loadout
my
he'll
boy.
have. We don't know how much loadout will. He will certainly not be the same price as a
Yeah.
standardized version of Dash. I could see this one being 7 points, and standardized again. We will all know by the time this is released what everything costs and what the loadout is. But I could see this at 7 and standardized Dash at 6. What do you guys think about that?
Oh
I
yeah, no,
mean,
I
it
agree.
would fit. It would make sense if you take account of all their other previous actions.
Yeah, and we'll have to see just what the loadout is too, and what slots it can take.
Absolutely.
That's going
Let's
to
keep
be.
going though. Let's do
Yep.
Lebo. Andrew, do you want to read the standardized Lebo for us?
Yeah. So Lebo is initiative 3, and the pilot ability at the end of the engagement phase, you may spend a calculate token to acquire a lock on an enemy ship at range 2 to 3. And so instead of having the focus action like Dash does, Lebo has calculate, has the target lock into rotate turret, uh, and then has a red barrel roll and just a white rotate. And then
These are
also has the
different
sensor
actions than Dash
different,
as
yeah,
well,
different
Yep.
actions than Dash.
which is
Uh,
Which
really, really interesting. That is
mm,
also something we have not seen before.
I was
right,
about to say
yeah,
is like
which
that's probably the first.
Besides the fact that some can only calculate versus focus, that's the only instance in X where we've seen an action bar be manipulated. across a chassis. But this is really interesting. A new linked action that another pilot in the same chassis does not have access to.
Being able to link into an arc rotation is pretty big.
Yep.
Especially
Pretty good in
at
this game.
I3. Yeah. At I3, well, at I3, you still have to do some guesswork as to where they're, you can still get arc dodged. But they also, just to finish it off, Lebo still has a sensor blackout, perform primary attack at range 0 to 1, roll fewer attack die while you defend, roll 1 fewer defense die. So Lebo is interesting because spending that calculate to gain the target lock is pretty interesting as well. So for the talent slot, they have efficient processing. After you perform a calculate action, gain a calculate token. So it makes that a little better and makes it more likely that you're going to get that target lock. Has the seeker missiles as well, so you can modify. You spend charges to modify those missiles instead of having to use calculate tokens, and then also has outrider. So while you perform primary attack at range 3, roll the additional attack die. You can spend a defender's evade result and into a focus result.
Just something that I want to call out as well, that I think, we read out loud a couple times, but just, I think props to AMG and also the testers for just noticing that it would be quite problematic to reduce your agility at range 0. So where a sensor blackout for attacking is 0 to 1, for defending it's only range 1.
Yes, yeah, that's right. That's really important.
A nuanced thing that really matters a lot.
Yeah, because that would be very annoying for those range 0 shots.
You mentioned Outrider. Lebo has Outrider, and Dash has Outrider. So what does that mean?
Yep.
You can't have both in a list, guys. I'm sorry. You can't have both standardized versions. You can have one that is and one that isn't, but both standardized, you cannot do it. It will not be possible.
Yeah, you can't have two Outriders. So that's a good call out right there too.
Yeah.
So where does this fit in the current Scum or Rebels lists? Because where I'm seeing it is, I mean, I don't think this goes maybe. This is not a Han Solo replacement, but what I am seeing is a pretty. If you can keep it at range 3, this is going to be a very resilient ship. Because if you keep it, you want to be at range 3, so you're rolling potentially 3 evade die on a large ship. And if you're hovering around obstacles, you can use those maybe to get a 4th. And you have 10 hull to chew through. So what this is screaming to me is objective. This is your objective ship.
At least for assault, it's going to be good at assault.
It's going to be good at assault. It's going to be, I think it's going to be great at flipping switches on the far side and reaching those switches. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to pick up crates with this. But I mean, and I think it would be good in chance engagement too, because it seems like it's going to be very hard to kill or to destroy.
Manny, what do you think before I jump in with my take on these
guys? I mean, I could see it being used as like a multi-role purpose. I don't know how I feel about spending 6 or 7 points on a large ship that's primary objective is to go after objectives. I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense. But I mean, if I'm spending 6 or 7 points, I want that ship to at least be killing stuff.
It's got 4 dice at range 3.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, totally about that.
Again, as I mentioned, I think the theme, the word of the day is conditional with these guys. I think that you can, if put in a position for it to be possible, they will be easily bullied at range 1. So there has to be, and there are a lot of fast ships, a lot of big ships that can cover a lot of distance right now. 3 dice, 4 dice guns, APTs are a thing, a little, here and there sometimes, especially with Battle of Yavin and all that stuff. So I think that a 6-point version of these guys, you can definitely make a good argument. I think at 7, you will have to figure out exactly what kind of strategy you can control when bringing this piece to a game, because your opponent will do their best to get in your face and bully them, which you had to do in 2.0 in the current version of these pilots. That was the only way to really take them down. They're neutered without the ability to double tap to take multiple focuses. Sensor blackout affecting your agility at range 1. Like I said, being bullied at range 1, you could die in 2 or 3 shots if you take 2 or 3 range 1 shots.
Right.
So I am skeptical. That is right now my current standing is I am hopeful and skeptical at the same time with these guys.
I will say, but I think that you're forcing your opponents to dive at you. They have to dive at you, because if they let you slow roll up, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They have to go all in pretty aggressive right away. And if you can bring that, I think with this list, you want to bring some good flankers. I'm thinking this is going to be a great list for some of the fangs like Boudica with the double tap ability, because they have to pick a lane. Do they bully? They have to go all in and bully Dash or Lebo, and then that is going to leave your your flankers will have open season because they have to come at them really fast.
Yeah, but 6 or 7 points of bait is a pricey piece of bait, which is it's at the expense of how big the rest of the list can be.
Sure.
So if your flankers would be a couple A-wings and Luke, is that enough? Or Boudica and a couple of 2 or 3 other ships.
All right, here's a question: if you were to take the Rebel list that got second in GenCon and replace, Han is not part of those. But let's say if you were to take like a Rebel list, replace Han with Dash, would you feel more confident overall?
I mean,
Dash just will not be as good as Han. I don't think it's going to be
Absolutely
possible for him to meet that ceiling. He's not set up for it.
Yeah. Also, Han himself is a format warping ship. Like, Han is worth 2 ships. I don't see Dash or Lebo.
Yeah,
even if
it's
they
a
are
tough
priced.
comparison to make because of the double tapping that Dash cannot do as well.
I think if you're bringing Dash or Lebo, it's because it's going to be in a different type of list. Now, Dash, Lebo, maybe if you bring Han, that could be interesting, because then they have to pick. Do they go all in on Han? Do they go all in Lebo? Because what if Han's your flanker? That could be interesting as well. Where because that's if it's but that's a lot, right? So let's say that this is 6 points. Han is 7. There's not really much else that you're bringing, but that could be scary.
Yeah, I think you'll be in a position where you might have to build around one of these two.
Yeah, I think it's a build around right now for sure, but I don't think it's going to be in nearly the same list, and I don't see it as a Han replacement.
No. So, all right, before we move on to the bombers, final verdict, yay or nay? I'm going to ask each of you, okay? Just in terms of impression of what you've seen, if you had to lean one way, yay or nay? Manny,
it's extremely hard since we don't have the points. I mean,
let's do it for the hot takes. This is what we do.
All right, the hot takes. All right, including the fact that we don't have the points, I am a nay on this.
I like the yay.
Yeah. Okay. I am a big nay right now.
I am yay. I am so yay.
Granted, if these guys are like really cheap, like 5 or 6 points, then yeah, like huge.
God. We're gonna revisit this, guys. We're gonna check in on how things are doing after we've seen the points. Because when this comes out, we'll know after we've.
Because I'm assuming it's gonna be like 6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. But
6 points. I'm in. 7 points. I think for Dash, I could see Dash being 7 points. That might be all right. Lebo at 6. I would be very in on Lebo at 6.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. They have a good stat line. They have a decent action bar. Their dial is great. They drop down from 4 to 3 attack. They can lose their agility and attack dice at range 0 to 1/1 for defending. Large base, higher initiative for Dash at I5, Lebo at I3. There's some dynamic potential. I think we can leave it probably at that and jump into the bombers. If unless there's any itching last words about these.
Question.
So hold on. We forgot to take a look at their dial. Their dial has only one red maneuver, and that is a 4K.
Right.
They have white 3 hards. They go straight.
Yep.
Now the blues aren't great, but not
the
bad.
Blues aren't great. Yeah,
blues aren't
true.
great.
However, they
However,
have 4 blue maneuvers total. 1 banks, 1 straight, 2 straight.
For a large base ship that has a 3 bank, that's pretty rare too. Very maneuverable. I don't know.
Yeah.
The one
I'm
hard, the white one hard
You
is
go
what
pretty
gets me with
fast.
this. Is that the white one hard is
hard.
very
That's
strong.
wild. Yeah.
All
All right.
quick question. Do we know what the loadout numbers for the customized ones, or is that still up in the air?
Yeah, I think it's all still up in the air.
Yeah, we do
Okay.
not
All
know.
right. Yeah.
It'll all be revealed at the same time.
Gotcha. I don't know if like any leaks. Yeah, that's right. It would make sense if it leaked. Yeah. All right. Cool.
But we will know, and when this comes out, we will know. So
Yeah.
an interesting topic, a little bit of a kind of trying to use our foresight and guesswork here. So we'll know soon enough.
As you're listening, you can tell us how wrong.
Yeah,
that
how
we
wrong.
are.
Oh yes.
Were you a
And
yay
thinking
or
they're
a
probably
nay? And
like,
where are you
"Hey."
at now?
Yeah, they
Where
don't
are
even
you
know.
at now?
They don't even know.
Please send
All
me
right.
a message on how wrong I was.
All right.
I won't respond, but please.
TIE Bomber time. All right, so guys, the TIE Bomber has been a part of Extended for a long time. I think it was a ship that a lot of people were like, when are we going to get the TIE Bomber in Standard? When are we going to get it? And well, we have it. We had it graduated into Standard as soon as the starter pack with the Bomber was announced, and now we speculated at the time the starter pack came out that we would get an expansion with just a Bomber or two, and now we do. We have a dual pack, 2 bombers. With some new standardized pilots that come out that have not been released yet. They're released in this pack specifically. And yeah, I'm eager to see how these do. I'm excited about it. We can break them down. But before we do that, how do you guys feel the bombers have performed so far? Because they have been standard legal for a little while now. What are your thoughts on them overall?
I think they made a splash, and then they kind of just became quiet all of a sudden. I don't think they were too prevalent at GenCon. I don't know if the Arcs and
They were in
Han kind of ate
Swiss.
their lunch.
They were in Swiss. They were pretty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I faced a bunch.
Yeah.
I think they've been strong. They've
Oh yeah, like they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, other great for their price. I mean, yeah, I'll depend on the pilot, but
They're
yeah, continue.
great at 3 points. I think that people picked up on pretty quickly how punishing the saturation salvo barrage rocket combination was, and that made it not viable to take quite a few ships. Like it made me not want to really take Fang fighters as much, because that is something that if they do not want to be saturation salvoed.
Yeah. Han doesn't like them.
Han doesn't like them. Yeah, they serve a very important role, I think, in the current meta, and it's very cool to see because they're relevant in a way that they haven't been in. I mean, since I've started playing, which I really like.
Yeah, and Tomax Bren is obviously the MVP of the bomber options in that are customizable because Tomax is I5 with good loadout to take the barrage rockets, the saturation salvo, and the bomblet generator. But if you want to, beef up your list and beef up your efficiency with your attacks, then you throw in Reimer at I4 and Jonas, who's the big one that basically almost guarantees that you get 3 hits on your barrage rockets because he allows you to reroll up to 2 dice for each friendly ship, or for a friendly ship, himself included at 0 to 1. They may reroll 2 of their missile or torpedo attacks. So, very good. Actually, it's funny. Shout out to Ben Keller, one of our locals, who thought for the longest time while he was playing these bombers that Jonas's ability was reroll only 1 die, not 2. So he was, for the longest time, only rerolling 1 of his barrage rocket dice. Hilarious. It's just so funny. He could not believe it.
It seems too good. It seems too good.
Yeah,
it is. It's good, but the drawbacks are there, which we can get into. I mean, actually, I'll talk about it real quick. The drawbacks of why did I not play more than 1 bomber? Did well at Gen Con. I only brought 1 bomber. It was Tomax. The other Jonas is 4 points. He can be initiative killed. They have no shields. They can be mag pulsed. They can be jammed by whispers. And they can be flanked by aces. So they're a one trick pony. They go in one direction and coast and just try to get their arc wide to catch something. And there are ways to beat them. And I think that has been proven at this point, that there are things out there that will bully them and allow them to basically just take up useless space in your list if they're not firing those barrage rockets.
Yeah, I think that the competitive call is only one Tomax only, because
Yeah.
also too, if they go in at the bomber, it's 3 points that you lose. But if you have all three that are very easy, I mean that's 9 points that you possibly could be giving up. If I'm sitting up across the table across a multiple bomber list, they're going to be my first target for sure.
Yeah. Let's quickly, or as quickly as we can, dive into
Yeah,
these new standardized pilots. I'll start off with Jonas,
because
and
there's a
then
lot.
if you want to do Tomax, Andrew, and then Manny, you can do Deathfire
Ooh,
All
in
I
that
right.
was gonna
order.
say I'd like to take Deathfire
Okay, he
because
wants
Oh yeah,
Deathfire.
sure.
Deathfire. Sorry, Manny, you're gonna do Tomax. All right, so Captain Jonas, he is at Initiative 4. And we again, when this is released, we'll know how much loadout, or sorry, not how much loadout, how much he costs. But right now, we just know the upgrades. So he's got a talent called Top Cover. This talent reads: after a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 defends, if you have not dropped or launched a device this round, you may launch a device using the 3 bank, 3 straight to the 3 bank to the left, 3 straight, or 3 bank to the right template. So you can be extra nimble. Whereas they have the nimble bomber ability where they can drop a device or a bomb, with their 1 bank. He can do this with Top Cover with a 3 bank or a 3 straight. So that is pretty good. And he can launch it. So it's not dropping. You can't drop it behind you, but you have to use those templates to launch this device with Top Cover. That is how that works. So kind of scary. Like you could throw out some danger out in front of
Yeah,
somebody with that. Again, after a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 defends, just be nearby something, or if it's you, that counts as well. He's got barrage rockets, as we've been used to seeing on the bombers. I think that's on par, putting that on him. And then proton bombs. So that is the danger that he can throw out with Top Cover. Proton bombs, they've been around for a while, but in case you don't know or can't remember what the hell they do, proton bombs, during the system phase, you can drop a proton bomb using a 1 speed template or the 1 bank for these bombers. It's any ship at range 0 to 1 of the bomb. After everyone is activated, it detonates. They suffer a crit, whether it be on the shields or into the hull. Really good in salvage mission, of course, because you say for a suffer crit and you're holding a crate, bye crate. So that is Jonas at Initiative 4. I didn't even read his ability. So after you drop or launch device, gain an evade token. That's going to keep him around a little
that's
longer.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting if you launch a device in response to a friendly ship defending, it doesn't. I don't believe that would go off until the next activation round.
I believe you're correct.
It would be a really weird. It's a very special case. Yep, you're correct.
Yeah, it's really strange because that would be really cool if you could throw it and then have it go off. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
It might actually mess things up for yourself. You're like, well, crap.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't have
yeah,
to do it
right.
at least. You don't have to do it.
No, but it is interesting. It's pretty wild
Yeah.
because you also don't have to be in a position where you have to drop something, which is, I don't know. It's funky. I like it.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you had not dropped or launched a device that round, so you can't, do 2 in the same round. You can't have system phase dropped in your first proton bomb and then do top cover in the same round.
Yeah.
So that's another, just a important thing to remember. What do you guys think of Jonas? This version of Jonas?
He's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, it's funky. I like it. Big fan of Top Cover.
Yeah. Here's a hot take. We're gonna see if I'm right. I'm gonna speculate that this guy comes out at 3 points.
I hope so.
Because
I mean,
they're gonna
I
want
wouldn't be
one of these to
surprised.
really get
I
played.
don't know if I like that, but I'm not going to be surprised by it.
I like it. I think 3 points is absolutely fair for an I-4 bomber. Even with Top Cover, it's standardized. The evade is really cool. I think that's going to really help, especially in this high initiative field that we see. I would be shocked if it was more than 3 points.
Oh, you know what? Let me read one more. So, just a quick note. I know when you had said it's standardized, you meant in the standardized card format, but just
Right,
for the
correct.
folks at home, it's not standardized across a list where everybody has
Right.
it. Just in this card and for Jonas. I didn't even read. There's a second part of Top Cover, guys. It says you ignore the effects of friendly devices. How about that?
That changes everything. Yeah.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
can
So
just
me
go
just
over
being
your
a
own
poo poo
bomb.
head
Yeah.
forgot to read that part because I got too excited about the first part.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it didn't have the second part, I still think it's cool. But that
Yeah,
makes
totally.
it that's a lot better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the bad
how
side
about
is you're telegraphing where you're not going to go. But yeah, this is
right?
good. Yeah.
How about Tomax, Manny? Give us what you got with Tomax.
Yeah. Let me just find him. Where is he? There's like two of him, right? Or is there only one?
Well, there's the
there's two of
new
him.
standardized one.
TBE at the bottom.
TBE.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So he has ability of after you perform a barrel roll action, you may spend 2 charges. If you do, gain a focus token. Not bad. I kind of like it. The chassis ability is still the same. I'm going to move on to the upgrades. His talent slot is True Grit. It is a new upgrade. And its ability and its effect is at the end of the activation phase, if you are not strained, you may gain 1 strain token to remove 1 non-lock red or orange token. Pretty good if you want to get unstressed, I guess. Ion bombs. Yeah, we all know what that does, right? I don't need to explain it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like let's so ion bombs. It's an ion bomb will detonate.
Range 1, it'll detonate, and you get
0 to 1,
ion
3
tokens.
ion tokens.
Yeah.
No damage. 3 ion
3. Yeah. And for torpedoes, it has plasma torpedoes. The effect, you roll 3 dice, 2 charges, range 2 to 3. Attack, a lock-on requirement. Spend 1 charge during the neutralize result step. Crits are canceled before hit results. After this attack hits, the defender loses 1 shield.
Interesting. I want to point out that what's really interesting about True Grit is that there is a red disarm on this chassis, and they would be able to remove the disarm token at the end of activation if they wanted to. So let's say they had a lockout there already from earlier. They wanted to fire a plasma torpedo, but they had to reload it during the activation phase to have a charge to do it. Now they can use True Grit. They could fire that plasma torp.
Oh,
So
interesting.
kind of a cool little, yeah.
I did not realize that.
Oh, and then also the ship itself has 2 charges. It starts with 2 charges and then 1 reoccurring. So the pilot ability, you can do that once every other turn,
which is nifty. And Tomax is still Initiative 5, like his build your own counterpart that is being very popular right now with the Empire lists. I like this too. I think this is cool.
This is a bomber ace.
Yeah, this is a bomber ace. I don't think all 3 of these guys are going to end up being the same cost. I think
they're definitely not.
Make one of them be, a couple or maybe an even number, 3 points. One's a 4-pointer. I don't know who. I would also see
4 points.
I could see this one going either way. I think this is a 4-pointer just based on the ability to, gain focuses for doing barrel rolls. It's recurring. You have the opportunity to remove disarms. You have the ion bombs, which don't do damage, but ion is very good right now for control. So I could go either way with Tomax here. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be surprised if one of them was a 4, because then you would just take the old Tomax. You would just take 3.1. This Tomax though is interesting because this is one that wants to arc dodge. It wants to use that barrel roll, which I like.
And this Tomax has an ability you'll actually be able to use. The other one,
that's true.
salvo doesn't work with his ability. So
yeah, the other one you're taking because it's I5. Yeah, and that's it.
And I did do a quick check here, and the dial is the same. And the action bar is the same. So they have a focus, they have a target lock, they have a barrel roll, a red target lock, and a red reload. Their dial, they have 1 bank whites, 1 straight blue, 2 hards, 2 bank blue, 2 straight blue, and then they have the 3 hard white, 3 bank white, 3 straight blue, 3K, and then a 5K, a 4 straight, and then a 5K. So honestly, a really good dial. Like the 3 hard and 2 hard being white, the 4 straight, they go fast. 2 different ways to turn around. I mean, I think maybe this will reinvigorate people's passion of playing bombers. I think maybe some people have soured on them slightly just based on them not doing as well in top cut formats, but it's early. It's still very early. So this will definitely be a bit of a shakeup. I would anticipate seeing them get played. Speaking of them, let's do the last one here because I haven't talked about them all. Andrew, let's do Deathfire.
Yeah. So Deathfire, the reason why I want to do Deathfire is because I used to fly Deathfire in 2.0 Aces High a lot because it was a 30-point ship, and the Aces High said that you built to 75 points. So you could load Deathfire up with proton torpedoes on him. You could put, one of my favorite proximity mines and do that on him as well. And there were so many games that I had where basically if someone would kill me, I would just kill them right back. Because his pilot ability in the non-standardized form is that after you would be removed from the table, you get to launch a device or shoot a missile or torpedo.
Yeah,
so that was
great
that
for
was
Aces High.
Yeah, it was so much fun for Aces. I loved it. But the new one there's a new ship ability, and this one's kind of interesting too. Is after you fully execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, if you have not dropped or launched a device this round, you may spend 2 charge, and he comes with 2 charge and has 1 reoccurring. You can spend 2 to drop or launch a bomb using the 3 straight template. And then still has the nimble bomber chassis ability. So for the upgrade card,
pretty. Yeah, I mean, I have to read that again.
You get to reach out and touch somebody. Yeah,
2 charges. Yeah, and they are recurring.
So if you move fast, yeah,
and we'll get to what he gets to launch because it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have swift approaches during the system phase. After you drop or launch a device, you can perform a white barrel roll or boost action even while stressed. So you have to do that. It's only during the system phase, though. But that still gets to put you into some pretty funky abilities.
That's like the FO bomber, but they can barrel roll.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a talent, by the way, folks.
Also, last thing to note too, Deathfire's I3. If I didn't say that before.
So it goes I3, I4, I5, I3 for Deathfire, I4 for Jonas, and I5 for Tomax.
That is interesting because the non-standardized Deathfire is I2. So he did go up in initiative value for this one as well. So we have Swift Approach, which during the system phase you can barrel or boost. His pilot ability, unlike Jonas, does not say that. Unlike Top Cover, does not say that you can launch or drop a device and then still use Swift Approach. So it doesn't preclude you from using one or the other. And then so he comes with proton bombs, which you can now throw. So you get a crit when those go off for ships at range 1, or Connor nets, which if you go over one of those, you suffer a damage, gain 3 ion tokens too.
And it's a very
very wide.
It's a pretty big template.
It's wide. It takes up space.
Yeah.
Area control with these guys is the theme I'm getting so far.
Absolutely.
It's almost as large as like a chaff missile, I think. It's like around that size.
Kind of. Yeah.
It sticks out wider on the lips on each side stick out wider than a chaff.
Oh wow, okay.
In depth, in terms of like the depth of it, Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But this is a ship that you want to. I mean, this is this goes very well into a control list where Deathfire comes, lays the trap, and then everybody else can pounce and capitalize on it. I think Deathfire is going to catch some people on some tables.
Yeah, absolutely. Speculation on cost. I think here's the deal. Deathfire doesn't have any ordnance or like anything that in terms of his attacks that would he's just got his primary. So 3 points would make sense for me for this one as well.
I could see 3. I think if any of the pilots that we read so far is going to be 4 points, I think Deathfire might be.
Yeah, he could be the new Grudge, where Grudge was all over the place with chaff,
Yeah.
when he had more loadout. This could be Grudge 2.0.
Yeah, because if this is at 3 points, I don't know if it unseats current Tomax or current Tomax, because you really want that I5, but
Yeah.
it's fun. I'm gonna
These are going to
fly
be
a
good
lot of
against
this.
Arc 170s, at least the Connor nets and
Oh
proton
my
bombs,
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
which we'll get to them in a bit.
There is one more that we didn't go, but I'm just gonna read it quickly. It's Major Rhymer. It's an
Oh, we
I4.
missed Reimer. I thought I missed something.
Yeah, that's all right. But there's nothing as crazy as the other ones with this. It's just while you perform a torpedo attack, if the defender is in your front arc or is in your front bullseye, you change one eyeball result to a crit. And he comes with advanced proton torpedoes, afterburners, and then there's a new oh boy, uh, a new upgrade
Automated
called
loaders.
automated loaders, and it's after you perform a primary attack, you can spend one charge. It has one non-recurring charge to perform a reload action.
That's pretty good.
So that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I mean, so you shoot a torpedo and then you get another torpedo.
Yeah, just shoot the meaningless range 0 shot and be like, cool, thanks for the APT back or something.
I mean, that's what you want to do
Mhm.
is you get you could yeah, it's primary attack only. Okay, so yeah, so
Yeah.
you shoot APT, do another attack, and then
Ideally,
get it
you're in a ideally you've gotten a good one off. You're still alive.
Yeah.
Which if you at that point, congratulations, you're doing a good job playing X-wing right now.
primer. Yeah,
Because that's the it's I love this Daredevil approach with the design space of this. You got the afterburners, you have ways, you have that APT. You want to get close, you want to get into range 1. However, you're initiative 4, and
yeah,
you could be initiative killed being that close to people. So it's
yeah. It's a boom and zoom ship. I don't think this leads the pack. I think this is a cleanup crew where Major Rhymer hangs back until maybe the after the first joust, and then
yeah,
it dives in on something. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
but it's
Thanks
here
for
for a
calling
good
that
time,
out.
not a
Sorry, I
long
missed it.
time. No,
Right.
no, not
Yeah.
right.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's good for the bombers, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overall, I'm a yay on pretty much every single one. I'll
Yeah,
be
I was
honest,
gonna
guys.
say,
This is
Yeah.
breaking them out here with you guys is the first time I've actually taken a good, like, long look at them all individually. And I think whereas we might be uncertain exactly to the extent that the YT-2400 gets put on the table, these will have different places in different lists. So I'm eager to see both of how they perform. But
I'm gonna
I'm
have a lot of
looking
fun
forward to it.
flying these.
Yeah.
I guess those last ones, Manny and Nick. If you had to pick one of these bombers, which one seems the most fun to fly?
I like Tomax.
Yeah, Tomax is the Swiss Army knife of these options. He's got the torp, he's got the bomb coverage, he's got a good ability, and he's got the initiative. So I think he kind of edges out in terms of favorability with his utility. Do I think he's the most fun? I'm not sure. Like if I
Probably
had to
not.
pick one that I think Tomax, I agree with you. Tomax would be the one that I would favor, but I think Reimer or Deathfire would be the ones that I would like absolutely be gunning to bring to the game store and try them out, build lists with them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Moving on from the new releases, it's been a busy. This is good to have a busy week of news for X-wing. It just goes to show that everything is popping with the game right now. Let's move into the meta fallout of GenCon, and we're going to highlight a couple of pilots who have made headlines not only at this national event that the three of us were playing at, but also we're seeing it pop up at a lot of store champs. We're in the middle of store champ season. There are, world's invites on the line at a lot of different places. It is so awesome to be able to finally say that we have official OP supported store champs again. I missed
It's
it.
cool.
We all missed it. Being able to play, tournaments that meant just a little bit more. So shout out to the community for keeping the game alive, whether it be unofficial tournaments in person or online. It's just great to be here and to have gotten back to the kind of X-wing that we were all hoping to get back to after the pandemic. But without further ado, talk about Gen Con. Guys, I think a couple of first impressions that I noticed. One of them is that 5 ships is the new 4 ships. The average quantity in a list has gone from 4 ships to 5 ships now. You can just
Yes.
expect to see it.
I feel like that's
4 points.
been the
Go
case
ahead.
for a while now.
But
Yeah, for the
yeah,
past 2
but
months.
Gen Con is one of the first couple of national events. So, unless you're going to a bunch of store champs,
Right.
which some people aren't, they have, it's becoming more apparent to people as more and more larger events are happening.
Right.
All right.
But there
Yeah.
were a lot more 4-ship lists before this points change. There
I
was
would
much
say,
more.
yeah, even a month ago, it wasn't unique to
Yeah,
find 4-point lists at your
absolutely.
store championships.
hmm
Yeah.
4 points is the new value budget bargain option. We see that in most factions. The factions that are struggling don't have that kind of versatility with the chassis available or pilots at that cost. That's something that we've seen, especially with Republic. That
And they
4
don't
points,
have, yeah, they
yeah,
don't have
what you could
high
pick with
Yeah.
4
initiative
points.
at 4
Um,
points.
right. The effect of 4-point control pieces like Padme, who we're going to do a dive into here in a moment. And then lastly, the impact of cheap, high initiative, and high damage stat line / output chassis, aka the
Yeah.
ARC 170s.
Because I would say that high initiative is also more important than ever.
Absolutely. So those are the impressions that I made that were made for me when I went to Gen Con. What were some other things that you guys noticed, like, wow, I didn't realize this, or that just really stood out to you
Well,
playing in Swiss?
it stood out to me, and it was something that actually it kept me up at night for probably a week before Gen Con, because I was last minute in picking my list, and it's because Han Solo is, I think, a meta warping ship. um
What do
Han
you mean by that?
Solo,
Meta warping.
I mean, meta warping, as in the list that we're going to talk about, this Padme rebel list was built
Republic, yeah.
to or Republic. Sorry, this Republic list was built to fight Han. Like it exists because Han exists. And there's a lot of lists that I even found going in, I felt weren't viable because they're not better than Han. And I didn't want to take Han to Gen Con because I know that people were either going to be bringing,
Right.
the Republic lists to beat Han, or that I'd be going up against Han, but players who've been playing this a lot more often than me in these store championships. And that's where I decided to bring 5 T-70s for
Both you
Republic.
guys.
Yep.
It's
Resistance,
Han.
yeah.
Han scared me into flying a new faction. I'd flown, a bunch of like practice test games against myself with this before. But I got, like, I think before Gen Con, I maybe had a couple days on the table with it. It was the right call because it was that list. I brought it to defeat the Han list, but then also I thought it was good if people came and played the Republic, it would defeat the Republic lists. So that list, the 5 T-70s actually did. I faced a Republic list, I faced a Han list, and then I faced another a Resistance. It scared me in Resistance. I faced another Resistance list that had Rey in the YT-1300. With LO, and I faced 2 of those, but I beat 1. So it did what it came for. But I think Han Solo has warped the format and is making people, they have to consider Han before they
Right.
create a list.
I just flew T-70s just because it's the only thing I fly and nothing else.
Yeah, because Manny is a very interesting human being with his list building.
I mean, but Betty,
I'm
flown
not,
against.
I'm not a creative individual. And
No,
also,
I mean,
I just really like the chassis. I'm the type
Yeah.
of guy who, like in Smash Bros, picks the same character over and over again and will not change.
Consistency
So
is key.
And you know
there's
what?
a little bit.
A lot of those people can be like world class at that character. But like I would say, like, Manny, but you've flown against everything. Like, you kind of know what is going to be
Yeah.
good against, like,
Especially
that
Manny
person
was getting
playing field
practice
sim.
against Han when he was 8 points when I was playing Han in a 3
Oh,
ship
yeah.
list. That
Oh
did
yeah,
well
I
at the
mean,
last Gen Con.
in Chicago there was a lot of Han. And that's one of the reasons, after flying against it so many times in store championships, that's what really showed me how powerful it is, and
Mhm.
definitely something that I think when you're building a list today, you just have to consider.
Yep. And the people, why is Han? Let's break it down super quick. I'll help you guys with why Han is so good. Well, there's the obvious reasons. There's also the combination of the high initiative at I6, the ability to boost with a large base, the wide firing arc, the ability to re-roll all your dice, whether it be attack dice or defense dice, as long as there's an obstacle at 0 to 1 of you. You can also do this for damage card rolls and obstacle rolls. If you go over a rock, you can re-roll the die you roll. And then the more obvious is, well, he can double focus, and he can, with double the 2 focuses from Perceptive Copilot, he can use Bistan, the gunner. While he's focused, he can perform a bonus primary attack against a different defender. So he is basically 2 ships at 7 points, a lot of health, 5 shields, 8 hull, good dial, good stat, just everything all around. So good. So his ability to shoot twice with that passive double modded shot with, and by passive, I mean he has to reroll all his dice, so it's no guarantee, but the odds are in your favor. He's just good. He's just
Yeah.
at 8 points, I thought he was really strong, really expensive. So when you lost him, you always lost your game. Now it's 7 with everything, with the tide rising and the large boats kind of dropping down from 8 to 7 in almost every case. He is you almost have to build a competitive rebel list with Han these days. You don't have, well, Zach Bart proved that it wasn't essential,
Right.
but a
Yeah.
lot of people have looked at, well, if I want to build a rebel list, I probably need to have either Han or Luke. Han is super popular right now.
Yeah. I mean, and also it counts. I mean, it counts as 2 ships. There is a 4. There's like a 4 ship list Han, but I would treat that as because of the double tap. I would treat it as a 5 ship list
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, Han counts
Um,
as 2 ships.
Which is also, so the original Han build was it was Han. You have Sabine in the TIE fighter, Keo and Wedge and Luke. Really good at objectives, and Keo could take a proton rocket just to make it a little extra lethal, and Sabine would be taking objectives as well. Or even if they didn't go Keo, you could, and then Wedge would also, with that ability of taking away the evade die, kind of help chip away at other ships as well. That created, there's a second Han archetype, which is Han. You have the Luke, and you have Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter, with Sabine in the TIE Fighter.
Yep.
And
There's a few
and that
options.
one, and that option though was created to counter the first Wedge option.
Yeah.
Or no,
Yep.
it's not Sabine and TIE, it's Keo. It's Keo,
Yep.
Fen, and Han, and
Although Keo and Sabine tend to be interchanged. They're both treated almost equally in different ways. Like, people will pick one over the other.
Sabine and the
They're
A-Wing.
both at 3 points. Sabine, yeah, in the A-Wing, yep. They're both Keo and Sabine at 3 points.
Yeah, I think Keo.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since Sabine lost the missile slot, I think Keo is a little better now.
Yeah. So I had a insane experience at Gen Con. I still am processing exactly how on earth I was able to kind of just knock down every barrier in my way. I went undefeated in Swiss and then won my play-in Swiss game on day 2 to make top 4. I was playing Empire. I was the only Imperial player to make cut in general. The second day of Swiss, I was the only Imperial player, which I think if you were to have told somebody that, one of you guys, that weeks before Gen Con, you'd be like, get the hell out of here. There's no way that actually happens. There's going to be more than one Imperial player that makes cut. Surely after 3 days of Swiss. No, apparently not. There were a lot of Empire players, but the bombers are really popular, and I think that kind of goes to show that maybe they aren't the best option for making, for getting to that next level for top cut purposes, just be competitive enough. We'll see. There's still time. But I brought a 5-ship list. I brought starter set Vader, brought Merrick, I brought Tomax, and the boys, the TIE Fighters, Mauler and Backstabber. And it was a great list. It was a ton of fun. Lost to Zach Bart, who played Final Table with his Rebel list that did not feature Han, which I thought was super exciting. I was really excited for him and excited to play against a list that was different, because I always appreciate when my opponents bring something a little different. He loved that I had Merrick. I love the fact that he brought Fen Rao and Hera and Boudica and Sabine. Like, it was just a cool list. So he just, to let you guys, to break it down for you guys super quick, he brought Hera in the A-Wing, Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter, Boudica in the Fang Fighter, Sabine in the TIE Fighter, and Battle of Yavin Luke. So a 5-ship list with mixed initiative skewing on the higher end. Just good. It was just very solid. And he lost to Tyler Tippett. So congratulations to Tyler for winning Gen Con. Tyler has won national events before, including Adepticon in 2019. I mean, I know him pretty well. He's been playing for a long time, and he brought the Republic list we're about to break down. Andrew, I believe, has pulled it up, and this is where we're going to get to the main topic of conversation, this list and a couple of figures in it.
Yeah, a lot of Siege of Coruscant stuff. We have Anakin Skywalker in the Ada to Addix, the Siege of Coruscant version. Naboo Royal One Starfighter with Padme, and Jag in Siege of Coruscant, Oddball from Siege of Coruscant, and Wolf Siege of Coruscant. All those in the ARC 170s. So, yeah,
5 ships. 3 medium bases with front and rear arcs, no pun intended.
Yep.
An I6 with 3 force, that's very hard to kill. And then an I4 and an N1, which the N1 has never been a very good chassis, but this one at 4 points, Padme, can you read her ability for us, Andrew?
Yeah. It's when an enemy ship in your front arc defends or performs an attack, that ship can modify only 1 focus result. So if you
neutralizing,
it's good for neutralizing Han. He can't modify those. You can only modify 1 focus result on attacks. It's a great flanker. I mean, that's really what it's there for.
Yep. She wants to go fast to get the evade so she can protect herself, and then she, a lot of the, I think this version had proton torpedoes and passive sensors, I believe.
Yes.
So she'll roll up with the evade, do the 3 to 5 maneuver, get that evade, and then passive sensor, and just sit there with her arc wide on everybody. So that way the ARC 170s can feast on anything in her front arc, and they can, their attacks and their defensive capabilities are neutered if they're rolling eyeball results. Especially Han, who can still pick up 1 eyeball result and re-roll it instead of all of his dice, but it really hurts him badly. If he wants to spend a focus, he rolls natty eyeballs. Congrats, you get 1 hit instead of 3.
Yeah.
Or 4. Manny, did you play against this list or Padme at all?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I totally forget his name. I played against him like maybe 2 or 3 times before. I'm sorry for listening to this, but yeah, he flew 3 arcs, Padme and Anakin. It's very important to read your opponent's list and know what they do, because I had no idea that Oddball is just able to soak up crits, and I don't believe I've ever rolled as many crits in my entire life.
Oh, fun!
Where the damage was like equally split between Oddball and some other ship. Yeah. Guess I was like, wait, I thought that was a Rebel upgrade.
I guess it's dirty.
So yeah, read your opponent's list. It's important. That's my tip. If you were to take anything from me, it would be that.
Yeah, this is a great list just because it throws a lot of red dice, and this is a list that wants to joust, and it wants to force you into a joust. I flew against this list, and I brought my list specifically to counter this list. So I tried to pay attention.
I thought it was for Han, right? Or was it specifically to counter?
It was for both, because so I brought it because I was like, people are either going to bring Han or they're going to be bringing this list, and I wanted something that would be good against both.
Yeah, I played against this list as well. My second round, it was a rematch. His name is Eric. I think you played him as well, Manny. I'm not sure. He just won his Worlds invite. So Eric, if you're listening, congrats again on that. He beat me firmly when I was playing Rebels at a store champ at Scramble, and I was first player the entire game. So he just kept taking the point back from me, which was super annoying. But He brought that. He bought that is this is known as Paul Heaver's list. Paul Heaver is the
Yeah.
architect behind this list. He's the one that won Lone Star Open with this list, and so Tyler and Eric and a couple other people brought it because it has proven itself at the highest level, on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
And really, the way that I was able to the way I was able to beat it was that his Padme, I ignored his Padme, and she was set up on the opposite side of the board, and she couldn't get far enough into the engagement to do anything, including
Yeah.
fire a meaningful torp. And then I was able to take 2 arcs off the board with the high initiative. I was able to initiative kill Wolf and get Oddball out of there, and that was enough with the objective points to win. But
Yeah.
Padme was a big absence in that game.
Um, Same. I did something very similar, and I went after Oddball first.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So what this list wants to do is you're setting up the arcs in the middle, and those arcs want to have as much time on target to win that initial joust. You set up the rocks. You want to set up your rocks in a way. Turn 0 with this list is very important. Um, you want to set up the rocks in a way in a like crescent moon that gives an opening for you. You basically want to block off one side of the board, and put as many rocks to one side as possible to force your opponents to set up directly in front of your arcs. Because if they do that, then you can go all in on them. If they decide to set up in the rocks that are bad, that's fine because you can turn into them. They still have to then get through that debris field to come after you, and it just gives Anakin and Padme even more room to maneuver on the flank. So that is really where they want to force you. So this is a list that it's there is a player skill level. I wouldn't say just think you can take this and
Yeah,
um,
no.
think that you're going to start winning games, but it is very good at what it does. This is really good against those Hanless large base ships
Mhm.
and anything where it can win that joust. It's going to have a very hard time, I think, against the high initiative because the initiatives are a little bit lower here. It's going to have some hard times against some of
Yeah.
those ace lists that
Six
aren't.
five four three,
Yeah,
443 65443
yeah.
is the initiative.
And it's also going to have issues with the reason why 5T70s works is that they are also chunky, but they can throw more red dice into the arcs than the arcs are going to throw back at them, and and the longer that the arcs are, the more turns that they take fire and sustained fire, the easier it is or the harder it is for them to win.
Right. Manny, do you usually go after is oddball usually would be your primary target?
Well, after that
Oh,
experience, yes. Oddball would be. I mean, now I know how to fight that squad. But at the time, I was like, oh, an arc in range 1, sweet. I'll just shoot. I'll shoot at that. Uh, yeah. Surprisingly, that's not the greatest idea. At least not in that game.
so as we take a step back, and it's been a few weeks since Gen Con has passed, and Republic is still at the top in terms of its appearances as store champs.
Hmm.
We're seeing this list a lot. We're seeing versions of lists with uh, even Rick and Delta 7B Anakin, who in
Yeah.
2.0 was never played. He was never played until like only at the very beginning of his release when the expansion came out were people playing him. But it's good to see Delta 7B Anakin
Yeah.
has a place in the meta as well, and he's faring quite well. So
Yeah, I like all
Republic
the
is just
Anakin.
on top right now in a lot of ways. That's been the biggest thing that I've taken away. Uh,
I'd say Rebel and Republic are on top.
yeah, in a lot of ways. That
Yeah.
isn't not a catch-all like only Republic, but Republic I would argue is number one, and and Rebels is right there
Oh.
behind them at number two.
Mm, mm. I I I think it's pretty even. Like in a rock paper scissors games, they kind of beat each other. Um,
Let's see. I'm gonna take.
but yeah, I mean, I think that there've been. I don't know. I would say that Rebel has an equal right to first place as Republic.
Yeah, it's like a 60-40 split right now. I'm looking at lists that have won their tournaments right now. I see a couple of Rebels, but more Republic on the first page of List Fortress right now, which is cool because
It's
either way.
60-40.
Well, no, I think that's what I'm. No, there's a first order list. That's cool. Yeah, I that's my opinion. I think Republic is has a very slightly narrow advantage, but Rebels and Republic both are at the top and both are very much capable of beating each other and winning tournaments. As we're seeing on List Fortress, at least the more recent tournaments, looking at a
Yes,
lot of
yeah.
Lukes, looking
So
at a lot of
it's
Kios and oddballs and a
I'm
couple
looking at
scum, which is shocking to me.
so Republic barely. I mean, 55.5% of tournaments are Republic, 52.3% are Rebel.
And that's just in terms of appearances, though, not in terms of winning. Like
Yeah,
how,
That's
right, yeah.
appearances.
So, they're both pretty popular. Which it's really funny. You think back to
Wait, that's also skewed because the ARC 170s also include the Rebel ARC 170s.
Oh yeah,
So that's
which
Garvin
are also
or
cheap now.
okay, yeah. So I don't know, that might skew it. So it might be closer to 50-50.
Yeah. But
I mean,
I mean,
probably Republic. That's Republic. Never mind.
Republic is
Yeah, barely.
very very strong, and we will continue to see that list and different versions of it in Delta 7B Anakin get played, as I was saying. However, they are not unbeatable. This list is, if you don't practice it, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, and then always, it's a dice game sometimes too.
Yeah. Well, and I think the more that it shows up on the table, the more people are starting to figure it out.
Yep.
Because when this was first, when this won Lone Star, it was a pretty wacky list. Not wacky as in but it wasn't what the Republic meta was at the time at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was very different.
Yeah, and so we will see what by the time this episode comes out, the Nova Open will have concluded, and we'll get even more insight as to what people brought and what won, what did well. And I look forward to taking a look at that as well. I would expect to see a lot of Rebels and a lot of Republic. If I were a betting man.
Oh, absolutely. I would still plan to. I'm still bringing my. At this point in time, I would definitely be bringing Resistance.
Yeah. Resistance, I would say it's interesting what goes 3 through 7 from, I guess 3 through 6, because 7 is scum. I think First Order and Resistance are like good enough and middle of the pack. I don't think they're, they don't stand out as strong favorites.
No.
Empire, I think, is lower than people expected, but still popular and getting played a lot, just not in terms of the competitive edge, not performing as well. Apparently I was flattered after I was like spellbound talking to Mike, and he's like, dude, like everyone's practicing your list right now, and it's really weird to I don't know how to feel about that. Like, it's just so funny. It's like, I'm like, and how is it doing? And you're like, not great. I'm like, well, gotta learn, I guess.
You gotta have the touch.
Yeah. You guys good to move on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so take a moment here. We have a segment that's going to be from our audience. So I'd love to be able to, be able to listen to you guys and talk about topics of conversation that you would like to hear on your preferred X-Wing podcast. And Daniel Leone, shout out to Epionic, who is the same person, the very same, who from Hawaii shipped me starter set Vader's card so I could play it at GenCon.
Wow, thank you. Yeah,
appreciate you, man. It worked out. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that was clutch.
It was, beyond clutch. Just amazing. He asks, how do you overcome a bad situation when you are clearly behind? You just lost an engagement has gone awry. It hasn't gone the way that you thought. What is your thought process, and what do you do next? How do you adjust?
I concede. No. At least for me. But wait, so are you asking me that question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's start with you.
All right, cool. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't really get tilted in this game.
is,
It is what it is. I mean, I try to make the best. I try to make the best out of a bad situation. They're just like, all right, what's the most optimal uh moves in this bad place, and basically pray to God that it goes my way. That's basically it. That's my strategy.
And for
I never
those of
said it
you at
was a
home
good
who
one.
aren't religious, just
Yeah.
do something scientific.
Exactly. Pray to Yahweh, I don't know, the flying spaghetti monster, whoever you worship.
Whatever you
Exactly. Buddha, uh, your cat, dog, just, yeah, it's really up to you.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah. So this was
How do you
something that
cope?
I had to learn very early on. If you can, don't tilt. There's always something that you can do, and this is where it's great about the objectives too, is that there's usually something that you can pivot to if you're behind. It's always good to have a game plan going in, but when that doesn't work, having that backup or just taking a pause, and it's an okay moment to take a beat. And like, honestly, what I do is I go, okay, so you know what the points are. You have it. X-wing is a game of high variance. There's just a couple dice rolls can go your way, and it can change the whole thing. Is figure out what I need to do to win, and and figure out what that is. If it is like, hey, I gotta take out their ace, it's a low probability, but I kind of have to go all in or dive on it, or I have to go all in and dive on these objectives, and it might not work out entirely for me, but the upside is that I can win. Um,
Hmm.
you make that risky play because you're already losing. So at that point you have nothing more to lose. So you can figure out what the game plan is now. How do I win? How do I get those points, or how do I prevent them from getting that? And you can start making that risky play. And also knowing that what helps me not tilt is saying, if I come out of this victorious, that's going to be one heck
Right.
of a great story. Like, this is like, if I'm behind, I don't tilt because I'm like, man, if
Story
I
to tell
can
your
come back,
kids, your
yeah,
grandkids, great
seriously.
grandkids.
But that's what keeps me from not tilting, is like, okay, wow, if I'm like down, the score is like 16-9. I got two ships left and they got four. If I pull this out, man, this is going to be amazing. So how do I do that? And yeah, it's figuring out what are your outs, what are your points, and if there is, sometimes it's got to take that risk, and but go for whatever play will give you the most points, and as long as you stick on that strategy, then you have a better shot than you did before of getting out of it. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, so this is something that takes a while to get in this kind of mindset. The first thing is, no matter what, you can't change the fact that this happened. So you have to just now pay attention to the things that you can control. One of them is, okay, well, the game's not over yet. We haven't hit 20 points. How many points did I lose here? Or, what was the long-term aftermath of this happening? Usually it's not enough for you to feel hopeless. Sometimes it depends on how expensive or how catastrophic the event was, the engagement was. What I try to do is I try to move on to my win condition. And you have to treat the game like a potential, like Andrew said, like a comeback potential. Because what's more exciting than winning 20-8? Coming back and winning a close game. Until the game is over, it's not over. So with objectives, there are ways for you to score points and pull ahead, get close to your opponent. Typically, when you've lost a ship late in the mid game or end game, they have a ship that is on, a couple of health, a couple of hull, that you could, if you just get the right shot in and get just lucky enough or put in the right spot, you can get some points back from taking that ship down. And ultimately, you really owe it to yourself to get as close to your opponent's score as possible. Because if there are cases where you just know you won't be able to win, we all lose games. It's like life, right? You owe it to yourself though to keep trying, to keep going and try to pull as close as possible to make your opponent sweat. And remember you, right? Remember the game that you just played where I said, wow, I won, but they gave me quite a run, like for my money. Like they almost had me. So you owe it to yourself to just play your heart out at all times, especially in a competitive environment. Try not to tilt, find ways to cope, realize it's not over yet, and just move on to what can I do next? That's my advice. That's what I try to do. I am very competitive. I care a lot about winning. I hate losing. As Brad Pitt and Moneyball would say, I hate losing. I hate losing even more than I want to win. And there's a difference. So you just gotta try to sometimes like with just dice, like if you get diced, you could just be like, ah man, I got diced. And it is.
But you know what? For every time that you get diced, they go the other way too. So you can dice somebody else.
Like when I played D-Yoon, I beat him 21-20, and if his dice weren't horrible, he would have beat me. And I was just like, I'm gonna just recognize that. It happens to me. It happens against it happens against me. It happens to me a lot as well. And that's X-Wing, as you said. But yeah, just be healthy about it. You owe it to yourself to just try to play the best game from that point on that you can, I would say.
Absolutely.
It's still practice. Even if you lost the game, you're still practicing and remembering these things to try to avoid the same mistakes next time as well.
Right.
Learning experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's my TED Talk. Anything else to add to Daniel's question there?
No, but that's a great question.
It is. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Submitting it.
Yeah, and to those of you guys listening in our Discord, we have a part of our Discord dedicated to the show. Please drop your questions in there. We'd love to be able to answer them and talk about these topics.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to move on to upcoming events?
Sure, let's do it. We can do upcoming events. So by the time this is out, Nova Open will have just happened. So I'm going to just, that was in DC. That's a pretty big event. That's a multi-day, almost the entire week event. But the next big Worlds Open qualifier I will actually be at in San Francisco, California, the Golden State Games World Open qualifier on September 23rd and 24th. From there, we have our Dragonfall charity event on October 7th and 8th, a 2-day event, 2 single days of Swiss store champ style, essentially 2 Worlds invites across those 2 days. We are co-hosting. Andrew and I will be there casting Dragonfall as well. That is in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Again, October 7th and 8th that weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We'd love to see you there if you are in the area. And then lastly, just announced, we have our Windy City Trials Turkey Trot Store Champ. That's on November 18th here in Chicago, Illinois at Good Games. So we will be posting and you'll see the event link for that in the description for this podcast and all over our channels.
Is turkey gotta be served? I'm just curious.
No, I want you guys to eat good food, so probably not.
All right, cool.
Something that's not dry.
We'll have a potluck. There you
go.
Every person wants to bring an item.
Stuffs their face and plays X-Wing. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like
a great time.
I'll totally be down.
Yeah.
All right.
Normally, we would have a section of we will in the future be talking about upcoming or current, Star Wars media and shows. Ahsoka just came out though, and we're gonna let it brew and have a couple more episodes pass before we really break down our thoughts on that show. It's just a little too early, I would say, and one of us hasn't even seen it yet. So we'll just be proactive with that. We will certainly be talking about Ahsoka and how Nick will not stop comparing it to Andor because I'm obsessed with Andor. I am obsessed with Oppenheimer.
That's too high of a standard.
It's just so good, right?
No, Andor's great. I mean, all the new Star Wars shows have been pretty great so far, so I've been thrilled by it. But also, I was going to say it's got E-wings in it, so I thought that would be.
It's got E-wings. I know. I will be gushing over that as well.
Yeah, I built a list that has 4 E-wings in it too.
Fantastic. We just gotta buy them. Anything else, guys, to wrap up the podcast before I do our little closing remark? I have one more thing I wanted to mention, but I thought I'd throw it over to you guys.
Well, yeah,
first.
no, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I just want to give everyone a heads up that our good friend Chris Tanner over at Planning Phase Syndicate, I just learned that his 12-year-old daughter is dealing with cancer. And we have started a fundraiser, Nickel City X-Wing and us at 312, to help raise money to help cover those medical bills. So we will post a donation link. All proceeds, all donations will go to Chris and his family. We're all here for each other. The X-Wing community is great for so many reasons, and if you can and are able to donate, we really, really appreciate your generosity. And just, if anything else, just send some thoughts over to Chris and his family. So just wanted to
absolutely
mention that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to our first official podcast episode. I can't believe it took a while, but we did it. Shout out to Andrew, who is helping. It was his idea, and he's the one helping to produce this. I don't think I would be as far along on our 312 journey without Andrew being a vital part of the community. I'll give Manny a bit of a shout out too, just to inflate his ego.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Even though he spends most of his life at the beach these days.
Oh yeah,
he does. Yeah,
I've been swimming, open water swimming.
Inflate it like
so
a beach
fun.
ball that you're playing with every day at the beach. So when we return, we will discuss the meta fallout of the Nova Open that is happening in DC in just about a week from this recording. Be sure to follow us on Twitch, where we live stream tons of X-Wing, both in person and online, as well as other games like me struggling and raging over Jedi Survivor on Grandmaster. Check us out on YouTube for edited content. Like us on Facebook for community updates. And if that's not enough self-promo, we also have a Discord. Can you believe it? Click the link in the podcast description. Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah, hang out with us. Talk with us. Don't talk to... Actually, do talk to Manny. DM Manny, please. Click the link in the podcast description for more information on how you can connect with us. Until next time, for 312 Squadron, my name is Nick Sperry.
This is Andrew signing out.
And I'm Emmanuel, also signing out. I'm sorry, I canceled your exit, Andrew. I'll think of my own next time.
No, that's good. That's fine.
We're leaving all this in.
Oh, yes, we are.
Thank you all.
Of course.
Appreciate you listening. Take care.